What's going on, people? I came in not too long ago, did my thing and whatnot. Long day. I was trying to think of different things that I was going to speak about and whatnot as I came on this live stream. A couple of things rattled through my mind. You got a list of stuff or whatever the case may be. Oddly enough, the YouTube was left on. You know, I think on my list somebody was watching it, and there was this vegan documentary that came on. Well, it was already on. I don't know what it was. What's going on? What's going on, Goku Super Saiyan Scratcher? I see you. So I saw this vegan documentary on, and they were talking about some stuff about how animals are food, or not food, but they're friends and stuff like that. And it's an interesting documentary and whatnot. But then the guy said something in the documentary that caught my attention. He said, "We live in an internet age, and in the internet age, people's BS meter is on high. And the internet, this internet age makes things realer." What's going on, Rock Truck Rob? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you for being here, even if it's just for a few moments, a few minutes. Hey, what's going on, Goku? I'm just sitting here thinking, pondering, postulating, wondering. And I heard something in the documentary, just in passing. I was just curious to see what you would think, you folks out there, you in the chat, people that may watch, people that may not watch. And I heard in the documentary, just in passing, on the internet of all places, that the internet age makes things realer. And I wanted to know what you thought about that. Does the internet age, does having access to information make things realer? Does it make things more concrete, more tangible? Is it something that makes you more aware? You know, that's what I wonder. What's going on, Victory Leo? Long time no see. Thank you for coming through. However, I would like to know what you folks out there think about it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, does the internet age, the society that we live in, the access that we have to information, the information highway, the connections, the resources, the availability to different stories, different information, different, emotions that people feel, does it make things more real, or does it make society more real? If anything. And I have my feelings and my opinions like that. Eggman rocks culture, internet more good than bad. Explain, Eggman, if you could. I would like to know why you feel like the internet is more good than bad. You know, what's going on, Molly? 1K Dolly, thank you for coming through. I would like to know, how do you feel about this particular question that I'm asking you? Does the internet make things more real, or does it make this society more real? I'm thinking about it, Eggman. Let me know. Let me know. Eggman rocks cultures. Like I said, I mean, I heard it said, so I just questioned. I wondered what other people would think about it. What their thoughts on the matter is. With the access to all the information, all the resources, all the things that we can do. With smartphones, with computers, with tablets, with iPads and stuff like that. Does it make reality more real? Like I said, or is it the opposite? Is it to the contrary? I mean, of course, I have my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings on it, but I guess before I got into it, I would like to hear what some of you think about it. Eggman Rocks Culture says you will have to watch TV for 10 years. What can you do in what you do 1 year on the internet? That's interesting. Molly 1K says, I think it causes more mental health issues for some. That could definitely be a point. Eggman says that it does more good than bad because you can actually take in more information in a shorter span of time, as opposed to taking you 10 years to watch TV and do that. I mean, that is a fair point. You can take in a lot of information by, actually having access to it more. But then it could flip into what Molly 1K was saying. It could cause mental health issues for some. Right Truck Rob says it makes more people, young people, more homebodies scared to go out and experience real life hiking, biking, camping, bushcraft. Okay, Eggman Rocks Culture says TV equals 10 years, 1 year internet. So if you look up and down the spectrum, very true, Rob. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. TV equal repeat internet, always new stuff. Yeah, that could be a positive and a plus that new stuff is being put out there. But then there is the mental health issues that can come, like Molly Dolly was saying, and having access to so much information, there's two sides to the coin. It can be good for you, it can be bad for you. It can expose you to things that you probably wouldn't have been exposed to, you know, so soon, so quickly. I know, Eggman, you probably feel differently to it, but I just would like to hear what you have to say or what you have in the chat and whatnot. You know, this is just a conversation. I'm not saying anybody is particularly right or wrong. There's no debate. There's no argument. Just want to know what people feel, what people think. You know, and some of you say, you know, that is, you know, maybe mental health issues that come out of it. You know, like Rock Truck Rob was saying, you know, hiking and stuff like that, you know, it's taken away because you become less, you know, less of an outgoing person. Not that's not what he says, but you don't get to experience real life. You know, you become more homebody. They say the same thing about video games and MTV. Well, you see what happened with MTV. People don't really watch MTV too much anymore. Video games, you know, some people will suggest that playing video games and doing things like that can particularly you know, stunt your growth as a human being or your social skills and whatnot. I mean, I think people do have a problem communicating nowadays. You know, who's to say if it's because of the smartphones, because of the Internet of Things, you know, because of the Internet age that we live in. You know, maybe these are the things. You know, maybe these things are the reasons why. Maybe it's mental health issues. You know, maybe it's, you know, becoming a homebody and things like that. When it came out during the 80s and 90s, well, it did have effects. You know, it did have effects on children and, you know, how people thought. It started to change, you know, what people began to really pay attention to. And what Molly Dice says, yes, but people use devices everywhere. It reduces communication in public too. I agree. That's a fair point. That's definitely a fair point. But to add to Eggman Rock's point, you know, it does help you get information faster. You know, so there's the negative parts to it, but then there's the pluses. The plus is that you don't have to wait forever in the day to try to find out some information that may be life sustaining or life saving or crucial for you to know. It could be a different way of eating, it could be a different way of thinking. You know, it could be different technology. You know, coming to a disaster area, something like that. It could be all types of things. But on the flip side, having too much access too soon, too quickly to things can actually become a problem. You know, because it can overwhelm people. It can, you know, have people ill-equipped to deal with it mentally. You know, and then there's also the thing that Rock Truck Rob was saying, you know, about it could take away, you know, the whole, you know, experience of life. You know, just getting out there, learning different things, learning how to mountain climb and hike and bike and do those things. You know, you can become a sedentary society. You know, and then Molly Dolly threw it back in there with, you know, the communication skills, the lack of that. Here in Melbourne, they had to put pedestrian lights on the roads flashing because people wouldn't look up. Yep, that's crazy. What you see TV is the same old internet to the darkness to the perfect enlightening. Um, it could be that Eggman. I mean, but you know, like I said, there's pros and cons to everything out there. I believe, you know, and the internet is no different. You know, there's access to many things on the internet that you could find, many things that are helpful. You know, then there's access to many things that are not helpful. You know, i.e. the deep web. You know, for those folks out there that get into that. Sorry, that's funny. You know, no need to say sorry. You just, you know, expressing yourself. We're just expressing ourselves in the chat. Thanks for the people that gave the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm just talking. These are just my thoughts. This is just, you know, a conversation, just asking a question. You know, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to ask a question. You know, it doesn't hurt for people to, you know, come into the chat and we talk and whatnot. Some people may not want to answer the question. That's fine too. You know, yeah, Eggman, you did bring up some good points. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong in this conversation, I believe, at least not for the sake of this conversation. Are there truths being told? Yes, there's truths being told. There's things being said. There's things being expressed. Why not? You know, saying, like I said, you know, we don't want to get on here and start lying to each other. You know, do YouTube is one of the greatest things that ever happened in human history. It could be. It could be one of the greatest things. It could be one of the greatest hindrances as well. But what I'll say is this, Eggman, and I'll definitely give you this, is that it's not so much the technology. It is how we apply it. It is how we use it. That is the problem. Internet is good for your researching how to do something like building a canoe. Sorry about that. A canoe, or painting a picture how to cook something at least, you're learning, not just mindless watching. Interesting, Rock Truck Rob. I treated crash victims who were texting while driving. I think we should moderate the use of these devices. Yes, maybe by Gen X 1978. I was part of Gen X myself, 1980. So I get you. I get you, Eggman. It happens. I agree. Maybe we should moderate, the watching of it. And, you don't want to make it just mindless watching. But the reality is, if you're going to use it for good, or if you're going to use it to upbuilding, then it also has, that side of it that becomes mindless. Or to watch Orange eating. Woo, there you go. Orange eating is a plus. The Internet of Things. The guys was born 1978 who made YouTube. Okay, okay. Well, that happened to Generation X, my generation. I get it. I mean, they were at a different time. Who would have known that YouTube would become what it is? Who knew that the internet would become what it is? And it's still at its infant stages. What's up, Giggle Giggles? What's going on? I see you. Thanks you for coming through. I appreciate you. I would like to know what you think. Do you think that the internet age makes things more realer? You know, like I said, what do you feel? What's your opinion? Victory Leo has something to say. What's Victory Leo? It says, yeah, the net can come in handy, learn stuff. If I ever go camping again, I'll make sure it's not on Native American land for my safety. That's interesting. Also, GoPro. Okay. I just saw you that you were live. Okay, cool, Giggle Giggles. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you, for coming through. But I would like to know how do you feel about the internet? Do you feel that this internet age makes things more real? Do you feel like it's more relevant? Society, life in general because of the internet. I mean, I don't know. I would like to know your thoughts on that. Like I said, I haven't given my full opinion, my full thoughts on that because I just wanted to hear what some of you folks out there have to say about it and whatnot. And I'm not trying to, use your opinion to formulate my opinion because I already had it before I came on, but there was definitely some, I honestly don't know. That's probably one of the best answers out there. Wow. Well, I mean, it's cool. Sometimes it's cool not to know, like I said, how it may shape and form and whatnot. And I think it was not Shakespeare, but Einstein that says something about how we're in trouble when our technology begins to surpass our humanity. So it is kind of crazy like that. Has our technology began to surpass our humanity, and how we treat each other and how we deal with each other. Let me tell Anna Banana that I'm live. Okay, cool. You telling her I'm live. There's nothing wrong with that. I appreciate that. You can ask her the question too. I don't know if she's live as well, but like I said, I just, I came through. I don't know. As far as my opinion, my thoughts on it, like I said, because a lot of you, or a couple of you, actually have said some, cool things in here. Some very, interesting things, about what's going on. 1961, 1981 is the character of the 13th flag of the U.S. Okay. 1961, 1980, U is the carrier of the 13th flag of the U.S. That's interesting. Okay, and then there was 90 Glock. So 90 Glock, since you're here in the chat, how do you feel about the internet? Do you feel that the internet makes things more real? Do you feel that society is more helped by the internet, by the usage of the internet? And 90 Glock says no. Well, express yourself, 90 Glock. Superpowers collide. Okay, I hear you, Eggman. Well, that's what that is. My opinion on it is, or my thoughts on it is this. It's a give and take thing. It has its minuses, it has its pluses. Does it make reality more real? No. If anything, it gives you access to something, 90 Glock says the internet is a deadly weapon that is often used incorrectly. This can be the case. This can be true. Yes, it can. Definitely can be the case. The internet, I don't think, if anything, it makes society more real. I mean, when applied the right way, it puts you in a standpoint where you can actually do more, and you can. Okay, you sent in a message, Giggle Giggles. That's cool. Appreciate that. I definitely appreciate you for telling her that I'm live. My thoughts and feelings is that if anything, it puts us in a funny, peculiar situation, to where yes, things can be more accessible, things can be more they can become real depending on how you use it, how you apply it. But it can become more fake as well because of how it's used. The internet is an angle name saying what? You getting religious on me, Eggman? I don't know. It actually shifts the balance of life. It makes people lazy and turns fiction into fake reality. Well, that is true too. The internet has a way of making things seem realer than what they are. Angel. What? Angle? The internet is an angel named Satan. Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't know if it was Satan. I mean, the internet, all in all, is not the problem. The technology is not the problem. It's human nature how people apply it. I don't think the internet makes it real or fake. To be honest with you, I don't think the internet makes anything, more real than you allow it to be, or more fake than you allow it to be. I think that the internet is, in all, how it's applied is the thing. Yeah, I was wondering about that. That's a angle named Satan. I was like, what? But thank you, Giggles. I was like, yeah, I see it. It makes sense. We're talking about Satan and the internet. That's out there. I'm not saying that's not true. You rock. Big guys. If it's on the internet, then it must be true. I was told that by the mole people. Well, big guys, thank you for coming by, and I appreciate you all the way from Australia. Some people feel that everything on the internet is real. That's one thing I'll say to people. Not all information is created equally. Not all experiences on here are real. Not all people are real. There's trolls, there's bots, there's systems, there's hackers, there's all kind of crazy things that you can get on here. I mean, what you'll find from people, I think what's real about the internet more than likely is the behavior of people, the emotions of people, and even that could be faked. So like I said, I don't know. You gotta be careful. I put the E in the wrong spot. Yeah, nah, Eggman, it's okay. A Satan named Angle. The internet is a Satan named Angle, Angle named Satan. Anyway, for the most part. Like I said, this is just a thought. This is just a question. 90 Glock says, if you think everything is real and the truth is on the internet, you're obviously mistaken. I can post anything up in given time, and I can actually make people think that they can fly, and therefore they can fly. Interesting point. Like I said, we all do mess up, Eggman. Well, I give you that 90 Glock. It can be crazy what you see on the internet. People are gullible, and sometimes people believe anything. Sometimes people are less aware. It does, like you said earlier, make people lazy. It does, put people in a way where they don't want to do things. And then it goes back to what Rock Truck Rob was saying earlier. People stop living real life and stop having different experiences and stuff like that. So you fight to try to live real life, real experiences without having to turn on, the computer, the smartphone, the tablet, what I'm saying, the big computer. But it's tempting because there was this book that I meant to read. I meant to get, the title of it is called Alone Together. How we're alone together on the internet. People are fighting for connection, alone together on the internet, just trying to see if there's anybody out there that cares, if anybody out there that wants to communicate with them. You could be in a room full of people and, feel alone. School kids whispers, what is the internet? Is it an extension of... Hmm. The internet is not God. It's only there to comfort those who need help and seek a secret society or sanctuary they can't afford. That's interesting. That sounds like a conspiracy theory right there. Falcon Heavy, 1971. Is that a movie or something like that? Interesting. Comments are coming in interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, of course, I don't think the internet is a god. Maybe some people feel like the internet is a god. I don't feel like it's a god for me. But oh no, Falcon Heavy, 1971. I have no idea what that is. The space rocket. Okay, see, I'm an old time. I'm not an old timer. I'm a young timer. I didn't know. I didn't know about that. You're showing your age, Eggman. It's all good. It's all good. Hopefully, you didn't get that off the internet. But like I said, it's all good. I don't know. My thing is just I feel like what's real about the internet is the emotions and things that people put out there about themselves as far as what people want from it. I don't think it makes things real. I think it can super transpose things and make things hyper reality, a hyper reality that doesn't really exist. You can become anybody you want to become online. You can get people to believe anything, like you said. Like 90 Glock said. You want to make people believe that they can fly, or you want to make people feel sexy or smart or whatever the case may be. Elon Musk, 1971 Gen X. Oh, okay, the space rocket. You talking about him? I don't really follow him too much. It shows my ignorance. Sorry to Elon Musk, and I do have a Tesla Motors around my way. Sometimes I'm just out of it, or whatever the case may be. But you know, Elon Musk. Elon Musk is an interesting character to me. Like I said, I'm not really going to discuss him too much right now, but he does what he has to do. He's a Gen Xer like myself. It's all good. Generation X. You're not dumb. No, I'm not saying I'm not dumb. I'm not saying I'm dumb. I'm not up on everything. Mel is not as smart as he would like to be. We can actually build your own electric car. It's very easy to do. Yeah. Well, hey, who knows? Maybe one day I'll build my own electric car. I don't know, just for the sake of this conversation, like I said, just exploring the possibilities of the internet and where it goes, where it may take people, how it, just really, I guess, moves and relates to society. I guess it's not a question that's just easily answered and whatnot. Internet can, I think, the internet can do both. It can make life seem more real. It can make it seem more fake. But it's more or less the perception of it. Does it make it more real to have computers and things around me to do things for me and to help me? Back to the internet, if it is something that I think is very useful, and it can make changes in the world. Yeah, it can make changes, but I don't think the internet is what makes the change. I think it's the people that makes the changes. How do you apply this technology and whatnot? People choose to escape, through the internet. The internet can make things more fake, and how people choose to escape and remove themselves from society. I think it can make you lazy. I think it can, teach you how to forget to do actual things. I think it's a combination of things needed. You need to learn how to use the internet. You need to know how to code. You need to know how to, get the information. I hear you, United Glock. It's all about information. Yeah, nah, I mean, yeah, it's about information, but it's also how you apply the information. And I think some people kind of take the information and they sell it for gospel, you know what I'm saying? So that's what happens with that. I mean, really, I think when it comes to the internet, it's about how you apply it. It's really how you, maneuver within it. It's like, what does it mean to you to be on the internet? Is this real life for you? What do you seek and what are you after on this platform? What are you after on, your tablet, your smartphone, your computer and stuff like that? Keep in mind, back in the days, that Will Pidgey character is running even snail mail, which still goes on to this day. Now the super secret highways to deliver messages, but yet they still, yet still we act like it doesn't exist. Yeah, it happens. It happens. I mean, there's different things out there that exist. People don't want to talk about, but I guess I'm not here to talk about secret societies and everything like that. I mean, there are people that do some conspiracy theories out there and whatnot, that probably exists. The internet is useful as long as you keep an open mind and try to sift through the rubbish to get to the treasure. I agree with you, big guys. I definitely agree with you. I mean, it depends on who you are as a person. It depends on your character. It depends on what you're on here looking for. That's just my feeling about it. It all goes to show that how ignorant people can be when they choose to ignore a message that comes less than 10 seconds. Yeah, that's part of it too, but that's part of a develop, a learned behavior that comes with time, with the technology, how people want convenience. I think what happens with the internet, things become convenient. Things become, a situation where this is comfortable for me, then it becomes a form of escapism. Why should I have to do things? Why should I have to learn things? Why should I have to grow in a particular way? I mean, and the internet does allow that. It just allows people to become more of who they would be if they could escape from themselves. Not actually themselves, but, some version of themselves that's not, normal or not realistic as far as life would be without the computers or without the technology. But, you can augment reality. The internet helps you to augment reality, to make it super transposed, or to make it appear more grander than what it is, or just more special than it actually is. Hopefully I'm making sense. And some people use the internet to make their life as a comic book, aka superhero that doesn't exist. You can do that. You can become anybody you want on the internet. You can become, as strong, as powerful, as smart, as sexy, as freaky, as dangerous, as vile, as evil, as ruthless as you want to be on here. It is that. Or you could be as honest and transparent as you want to be. But as this old Thomas said, I don't think anybody could survive putting their whole life on the internet for 24 hours and walk away. And then it comes to catfishing. That's when catfishing comes in. Yeah, catfishing, catfishing pretending to be something that you're not, getting people to believe, manipulating or usurping their emotions. That's something that definitely comes through. The internet in itself is not a devil, it's the user's choice of how they use it. Exactly. I agree with you, big guys. I definitely agree with you on that one. It does come down to, how do you want to use this thing? Because, technology is not evil. Technology is anything. Technology can be, this thing right here plugged into the wall. Technology can be, this bottle. Different things are technology. Technology can be, this thing here. I don't know if this is, what is this, a handy chamois? I don't know what that is. Anyway, technology is different things, you know what I'm saying? And how we use it is the most important things. I guess what happens is it's more or less about human nature and how do we interact with these tools. As I hate to say it, unfortunately, it is in mankind's nature to abuse its resources. And I think if anything that happens, we abuse the internet. We abuse the resources and the information that is on the internet. And a lot of times we don't use it for good, for the betterment, for empowerment. Sometimes it's just used too much for entertainment, for illegal activity, to tear people down, to do negative things with. And then, when you start hitting people with lawsuits and jail time and real consequences for people getting hurt and killed, then maybe folks will look up and say, well, maybe they shouldn't have done this or done that when the consequences and the things get real. So that's, like I said, that's just one of those things right there. But on the flip side of it, like I said, it can be used to do good. There's nothing wrong with using the internet to do good. There's nothing wrong with the internet to try to, make a better society and reach people. I mean, I think that's one of the things that happens with it is that now if you have a message or if you have something that you're saying, it allows you to reach people. It can impact the world, in seconds. Can it make it more real in that aspect? Like right now, I'm talking to people in, Australia. I've spoken to people in Japan, in Canada, in the UK, in Africa, in Asia. You know what I'm saying? Certain parts of the U.S. So it can make it real in how you deliver your message. It can impact and spread around the world as fast as possible, both for good, both for bad. For better or worse, sickness and health, the depth of his part. But like I said, there is sort of a marriage that comes with this, and a holy or unholy matrimony that you partake in, and as when you press upload or you hit that live button or whatnot. Not to sound too preachy, I still got 4 people in here, and that's more than 3 if Ro King is watching or he's around. I still got more than 3. But like I said, it's interesting, the conversation of the internet and whether or not it makes you real. Good talk, great topic. Going to bed early. Okay, no problem. Rock Trick Rob, peace to you, bam. But I just appreciate you for coming through, for watching, however long you watched. I think you gave me enough watch time. It's all good. I mean, even if you just were here for a few seconds, few moments, I appreciate that. People don't realize it. It's not easy to live stream on a regular basis, just to hold people's attention and have an interesting conversation. This really, I just pulled out the thin air, or offline. What's going on? The Redneck Railroad, big guys is still here. I'm still here. I appreciate you for coming through. Nothing wrong with that. Let me ask you, Redneck Railroad, do you believe that the internet makes things more real? Is it less real? How do you feel about the internet as it pertains to society? Does it make it more impactful? Does it make it more tangible? Does it make it more of something you can grasp and feel in your hands? When it comes to the internet, please elaborate, explain, answer, or not. It's all that. I encourage people to explore the question, to answer the question in any way that you see fit. Me, as for how I feel about it, I feel, it can make society more fake. It can make it more real depending on who you are as a particular person. Where do you want to come from it? Like I said, a lot of people use the internet for escapism. Sometimes people log on, they want to escape from their own reality and they want to get into things that that make them forget about, the things that they're going through. Sometimes people want to watch videos. Sometimes people want to see tutorials. Sometimes people just want to laugh. Sometimes people want to think. Sometimes people want to, learn different things with that and whatnot. So, you can find a lot of different things on the internet. I guess it is about who you are as a person. What is your character? I was watching a documentary many years ago, and they're saying one of the best things about the internet, at least for now, or computers, is the ability to be able to turn it off. I mean, we still have the ability now to turn off these electronics or these devices when we feel, of course, when, other than when the certain people are surveilling you or watching you, because there's somebody always watching. And that's a live stream that I'm going to do, as well. We're going to talk about privacy and, the lack of it and whatnot. One of the myths is that people still have privacy. It is what you make it. If you're real, then people tend to be real. Well, that's interesting, Redneck Railroad. So you're saying, it's what you make it. If it's real, then, people will be real. Well, that's something that can happen. There's something that can happen when you try to be real with folks. Definitely, I could agree with that. There's a point there to that, and I'm not gonna knock that. There's the other side to that too. But I appreciate you for sharing that. Like I said, it can be what you make of it. But I think, as has been said here too, what Molly Dolly said earlier, it needs to be monitored. It's something that you need to really pay attention to, because you can find yourself lost. You can find yourself lost in online. You can find, it's like Pandora's box. Once you open it, if you have no control over who you are, if you have no awareness of what you're about, you can get lost on the internet. You can become somebody. You can be, wrapped up in things that don't matter. You know what I'm saying? So it's something that you really, really, really have to be careful of. This can get addictive. There was a study that was shown. I forgot where the study was from, but in the study it was talking about basically how, being online on the smartphones and just logging in every day can be as addictive as a coke habit. Can be addictive as doing drugs. That's how addictive this can be, being online and stuff like that. So in certain aspects, it can be, detrimental to you. It can be mental health issues. It can be physical, things that affect you as far as being on the internet and whatnot. So it is something in moderation, that you want to have, but it's challenging because it's where the action is. So if you want to know what's going on with the latest in life, if you want to see what's happening in the world, if you want to just, know what, secret desires and stuff like that you have, it's on the internet. Whether they whether they be right, whether they be wrong, whether it be the situation that you should be into. There's a lot of things out here, that really, tantalize people and take people different places and whatnot. So like I said, I asked the question and I posed the question to everybody, does the internet make it more real society? Does it make it better? If you want to add that part to it, or the flip side of the question, which I really didn't get into too much, does it make it worse? Does the internet make things less tolerable? Does it make it more of a problem? Does it make it more evil, more detrimental? Is it a communication thing where is a breaking down of humanity? Do these things happen? My thought to that is that it is about the people. There's good and bad to the internet. Well, explain, Melanie, please. I would like you to elaborate on that comment that you just made. What do you mean by there's good and bad? I don't want to assume anything by the comments. Anybody that's said anything, because I believe there's good and bad on there too. But what is your definition of good? What is your definition of bad? Everybody has different definitions, or maybe the same. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the 8 people watching. Thank you for the 8 thumbs up. I appreciate it. I encourage anybody to give any comments, any thoughts, any opinions, anything that they may want to say on this particular matter, because this is something that's not just for my live stream. This is not something just for my video. This is something that affects each and every person that uses electronics, that use the internet. And I imagine all of you on the internet, on this live stream, use the internet. Doesn't make your life better. Doesn't make it more real. And 90 Glock, you said yes, no. Okay, it can be good for people to communicate, for positive messages to be spread, but on the flip side, there can be a lot of negativity, ignorance spread as well. I can understand that, definitely. Who was it? Eggman was talking about it earlier on in the stream, that you can take in more information in a shorter period of time. So if I add that point that Melanie just made, you can have that information be good, you can have that information be negative, and that's something that definitely can cause mental health issues, depending on who you are. Like Molly Dolly was saying, you see, I'm connecting the dots, I can connect the dots, and then if I connect it to what Rock Truck Rob was saying, it could take away from your ability to experience life experiences, hiking, climbing, doing all that stuff. And then also, if I connect that to what Big Guys was saying, Big Guys was talking about basically how it is how you use it, what you're looking for. It is a matter of people, human nature. Like I said, just connecting all the dots. All of you folks are saying some real powerful, engaging stuff. And it does boil down the common theme, the common thread is the human nature. The usage of it of people. The internet is not the problem. The technology is not the problem. It boils down to the people. Do the people want to be expanded by it, or do they want to use it and not abuse it? Do you want to spread ignorance throughout it? And the reality is that there are people who want to use, it for evil purposes, for ignorant purposes. There are people who want to get on here and tear folks down. The redneck railroad says, I agree, Mel. You do have exercise self-control. Don't speed your life on the internet. Yeah, you don't want to spend your life on the internet. Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate that. I mean, but like I said, it doesn't require self-control. It's challenging because when you can do so many things, when you can sit in the dark and get as nasty and as freaky and as vicious and as ignorant as you want and not have to answer to anybody, that is a tempting situation. But on the flip side, there's also that ability to impact change and reach people in a positive way. And 90 Glock says no, not true. So please elaborate, 90 Glock. Why is it not true? I mean, I'm curious to know why you think it's not true. For me personally, I think it boils down to who you are as a person and what you're looking for, your ability to control it or not control it. Because even if you're doing it, if using it for positive purposes, it is still something that can overcome you and overtake you, because you can only spend so much time on the internet before it actually consumes your life. It's like a preacher said one time. A preacher said basically what happens is that you can feed people so much that you forget to eat and starve yourself. It's not true, because you have some people that are bedridden because of disease, and so they cannot actually move or entertain the right ways as they want to. I don't know. You have to elaborate more on that one, 90 Clock. I don't know where you're going with that comment, but like I said, there are people that are bedridden. There are people that have disease and can't really, do the things that they want to do. So I don't know where you were going with that comment, but thank you for sharing it. I appreciate it. But there's just different things on here. You have to just be careful with how you use anything. It's just like, look at this peroxide. You have to be careful how I use peroxide. I can use it to clean cuts. I can use it to as mouthwash. If I swallow it, I could choke off of it. It's how you use it. Using it in moderation. It's a long story I'd rather say for another day. Okay. Um, okay. I mean, I got you. I got you. I mean, maybe it's a long story that you say for another day. You know, um, Maybe it's a conversation you need to have offline. And that's one of the things too. I think what happens with the internet too, as people sometimes we um, we actually put too much into the online experience, the age of the internet, the social media experience. That's another thing I haven't really talked about as well. The social media aspect of it all, the need to connect with each other, the need to be connected 24 hours, 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. There's that. Because I mean, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you're about. We all have somebody on the internet. We all have somebody we know personally or through social media that we keep up with. We have people and things that we are into that at times we want to like know about. And like I said, you could be on Twitter, you could be on Facebook, Snapchat if you still use that. Instagram. You constantly have this cycle of things that you can keep yourself active and busy with, and it does come to a point where you have to unplug and recharge and figure out yourself and see who you are if you want to. Some people just want to go head first deep into the matrix and, just be there and exist and swim and stay in it. And you could do that. But like I said, at the end of the day, is it making your life more real? Is it making life more tangible? Or is it a feeling? Is it something that fades? Is it something that goes away? There's a dangerous aspect to it all as far as becoming dependent upon the internet and the internet of things or social media. Is that if you cannot function without it, once it disappears or if it goes down or if something happens and you really don't understand true survival skills and how to communicate and do things in life, you can be crippled like that. I call it the superhero effect. Okay, 90 Glock. It could be that. It could be the superhero effect, but that's the danger in putting too much emphasis into the internet. If we put too much into it, if we spend too much time on it, if we don't pull ourselves away, if we don't remember that we have families, friends, a real life, it can destroy us. And some people may feel like, they have control over it, but it can be like a drug, this whole internet thing, just being constantly connected to people, constantly having to speak and talk to people, constantly wanting to know what's going on, constantly wanting to be relevant and validated by this tool, by the interaction that people have. It's an emotion of things. It's a panoply of just senses and information, stuff that may not be properly vetted, mediocrity celebrated. It's a whole bunch of things. There's truth out there as well, but sometimes the truth gets drowned out because it may not be the most entertaining. Just like this live stream. This is not the most entertaining live stream, but there's truth in it. Russ, aka Ya, what's going on? See you out there. Appreciate it. Um, call my niece Ya, but Ya means grandma. I forget one language, but that's another story. Um, yeah, it does come down to who you are as the individual. Hello to you as well, Russ. Appreciate you for coming through. There's truth out there. There's negativity out there. There's ignorance. There's good. There's bad. There's the ugly. Here's the thing I'll say about this when it comes to the internet and how you use it. There's realness on the internet. There's fakeness on the internet. You can choose either one. That's your prerogative. Nobody's going to stop you from choosing the real, the fake, or some type of combination in between. But the choice that you make as far as what you're looking for says a lot about you. Like I said, you could be as freaky as you want to be. You could be as upright and righteous as you want to be. But it says everything about you. Even with me, if I'm looking at something questionable on the internet or putting myself in a dangerous position, then that says a lot about me and what I'm looking for. If I'm so caught up in the fantasy of it all, the entertainment of it all, then that says some things about me as far as my principles, where I'm at that moment, what I need to change, what I'm maybe not willing to change at that particular moment. And if I do good, it says a lot about me with that. But regardless of what you're looking for on the internet, there is a restraint, there's a self-control, there's a moderation to it. Thug life, yes, 90 Glock. And I think what happens is with this internet thing and the experiences that people have on here, it can be overshadowed, just by a person's emotions, inability to unplug or turn off or log off or turn off the Wi-Fi. And then how these devices work sometimes. You can turn off your device, which is funny. I'll tell you this. I remember I used to turn off my cell phone. One of the reasons why I don't turn it off. I used to turn my cell phone at night and I say, all right, look, I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm just gonna rest. I'm gonna get rest. I'm gonna use my alarm clock and I'm gonna go to sleep. You know what happened? Out of nowhere, I'm laying down, sleep, snoring, whatever. Then all of a sudden, doo 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 doo. All of a sudden, my phone come back on. For what reason? I don't know. Cut it off again, my phone come back on. Cut my phone off again, my phone come back on. Cut my iPad off. Mysteriously, the iPad come back on. You're like, well, what's going on? And the devices sometimes take so much of a hold of our life if we're not careful of what we're doing and what we're into. There's a moderation and something to have it. And the reality is this. There's going to be people who are moderated in their uses of it. There's going to be people that are not. For those of us that have grown up, for the most part, without it, for certain sections, a certain segment in our life, we're fine. It's a series of events that are hard to explain. Maybe, maybe not. But it comes down to a situation where for those of us that understand what life is like without this technology, what things were like when you actually had to go outside and play, when you had conversations with people, when you actually had to really communicate and look across the room or look at a person and really see a person's facial expressions. We get it. The problem I see just with the internet and whatnot is the youth. When you have the youth growing up in this world and they don't understand what real life is, it can become more real for them. It can become a situation where they don't understand the difference between being on a computer, communicating with people from a distance, not seeing the real person, understanding when people are acting or giving fake positivity or real negativity or fake negativity, whatever it is. People put on facades all the time. People say face. I'm more concerned for the youth, for the kids growing up, for how they interact with this stuff. I remember I was watching a documentary some years back, and there was this boot camp for these kids out in Asia, and they were so caught up into the internet that they had to be taken away and sent to a place where they had to learn how to play basketball and other sports and all these other things, right? And I remember one of the things one of the little Asian boys said in there, and it just bugged my mind. I was a 16-year-old Asian kid at the time when I was watching this in the documentary. He says, "I want to be online because reality is so fake. The internet is more real." And I didn't know where to go with that at the time. That's when I think this was it 2012 I seen this, or 2011 I seen this, and this young kid, 16-year-old kid, who was a gamer obviously, of course, and into the whole internet and whatnot, was saying that the internet is more real and reality is more fake. I didn't know where to go with that. It's called being experimental, where you try a program, where they try reprogramming people into doing things that are real instead of a fiction reality. Could be that, 90 Glock. It definitely could be that. All I know is that when it comes to the internet, when it comes to how we interact with it, it becomes this larger than life experience, or it becomes this almost occupying force in our life. Just think about it. People that are online right now, even if you're not really into this live stream, I guarantee you this. Even if you're just listening to me amiss, you're still doing something online somewhere, researching something or looking on your phone, or checking out the latest updates, or on your timeline on Twitter or on Facebook or something like that, multitasking or whatever it may be. I mean, even people that get off of here, get off this live stream, you're probably going to another live stream, or you're going online to check out some posts, some social media posts. Even after I get off of here, I'll probably go check Twitter or go check Tumblr or wherever I'm at and whatnot, or look at my messages, cell phone messages, and see what's going on. It comes to a point where we don't want the technology to overpass our humanity, as Einstein has said, but it is a temptation. It is a constant temptation. I have a joke for you. What do you call it? Flying bagel. I don't know. What do you call a flying bagel? 90 Glock. You know, um, it just it's interesting. It's an interesting question. I didn't think, that comment that I heard later, I mean, earlier on in the night would actually spark this whole, live stream and whatnot. But it is something that made me think, does the internet make, you know, things more real? Does anyone else want to know? I don't know if anybody wants to know, 90 Glock, but you could tell us anyway. You know, um, I don't know. To me personally, I don't think the internet itself or the internet age makes it more real. It is scary, man. Well, Art, I think what's scary is the application of the internet. It's a plain bagel. Okay, that's funny. What do you call a flying bagel? A plain bagel. That was funny. That was funny in a corny sort of way, but that was funny. Don't quit your day job. Whatever that may be. But yeah. So um, yeah, it can be scary, Art. It can be scary, but at the same time, there's ways to combat it. There's moderation. There's understanding of how it affects us. Because the internet is still young, it's still there. People haven't even gotten into, the limits of virtual reality. We haven't even gotten in deep into hologram technology. Yeah, you got that from my nephew. I'll tell my nephew he's funny. He's funny, definitely. He's funny. You know, he's a little comedian over there. In more ways than one. But I got some jokes for him. But we'll leave that alone right now. That's for another time, you know. But yeah, it really comes down to, you know, who we are as people. Where do we want to go as society? How much do we want to go down the rabbit hole as it pertains to this internet thing? Because we've only scratched the surface of how deep this can go, how much it can affect us. No, internet is the enlightenment of good and evil. Um, is it the enlightenment? I don't know. You're getting real philosophical over there. Amen. But that's what it is. They say the same thing about TV. Well, maybe that's the case, but the thing about TV, which was always cool about television, is always the coolest thing about television, is the ability to turn it off. Any TV, at one point, you just turn off. You can unplug it. Sometimes the only way people unplug from their actual internet is when their phone die. And I could foresee a day where phones don't die. I could foresee a day when you can't cut off the internet. I foresee a day when you have to have an electronic device either on you or connected to you. I foresee a day. Not to scare anybody, but that's where we go with it. People make it so much a part of the society. They make it so much a part of, who we are as a humanity. You know what I'm saying? You can turn off the internet. Can you really? Can you really, Eggman? I challenge you to show me how you turn off the internet. It can be turned off, it can be stopped, but the effects of it can't be turned off. If you turned it off and you did the firewall and you clipped it, somebody would find some way cage the mouse. Well, listen, I don't know. I don't know if the internet at this point can be turned off because then, a lot of things would disappear. People's ability to spy on each other, organizations, governments, ability to spy on each other would disappear. People's ability to hack, that's just what I feel about it. Not trying to get too deep, but there's a lot of stuff online, that gives people the ability to do different things, to surveil people and communicate with people and, have exchange of commerce and stuff like that. You can never turn off the internet, but you can always turn off your computer or tablet at your own risk. It's not at your own risk. You can turn it off and you detox, decompress, find yourself or get where you need to do. Put the mouse in the trap. You can put the mouse in the trap, but at the same time, sometimes people just find a better way to escape it or they build a better mousetrap. I don't know, maybe that's just a metaphor. But as far as I feel about it, it's something where, we as human beings have to be careful to not let this technology overtake our humanity. Unfortunately, there's going to be a situation where a lot of people allow that to happen. The internet always have been, I won't say the internet's always been, maybe it existed in different ways or whatever. However, I don't know if it's always been, but you sounded real cryptic with that. All I know is this iteration of the internet, it's only scratching the surface. You can never put a mouse in a trap without some type of bait. Well, maybe the internet is the bait. Maybe it's people's emotions, or wanting this, longing this to belong. I mean, we all want to be heard. We all want attention. We all want somebody to validate us at some point in time. Maybe people say that they don't, but I challenge you this. I challenge you to prove to me the person that's online who is not looking for some sort of attention or validation, from somebody, if they're online. And maybe not validation, but attention. For those people that are really not looking for validation and attention and don't want to be in the mix of it, guess what? They're not online. They don't have a social media presence. It was dreamed by the Greeks, was it? Maybe. Maybe. Like I said, that's something I would have to take the time out to chop up and get into and dissect in a certain way. Like I said, I didn't even expect this to be an hour live stream, but it's looking like it is. Thug life, you thug life. Okay, 9 o'clock, you keep thugging it out over there. Keep on thugging. But for this situation, I say it is an approach to where, understanding your character, understanding where you want to go. It was also the ones of the beasts. Also, like I said, you're getting cryptic right there. Okay, I hear you. You're getting cryptic. You're getting conspiracy theory-ish over there. I get you, Eggman. Well, but I do appreciate you for being here the whole time. I appreciate your contributions, and even the contributions of some people in there. Do I claim to be right in everything that I'm saying? No, I do not. Am I trying to condemn anybody for, going head first into the internet, or, all the way, drinking the Kool-Aid, going into the Matrix? Some people say I rock. Not everybody feel like Mel rocks, but I think you, Eggman rocks. Thank you. I do appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I will just round this off to an hour since I'm here. I might as well. Like I said, I really didn't expect this to go an hour. I thought I'd be watching Netflix right now. Another thing on the internet. But the internet has, consumed and amassed so much of our attention, so much of our interests, so much of the things that we're into. It is something that is a challenge to try to control, as it is also looking to control us, because we ain't even get into artificial intelligence. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. I don't even know if folks are really ready to have that conversation with me online. I don't think none of y'all right now. I mean, I go sit in the room with scientists or something. I think as long as we are on the internet, we should always try to think positive and strive for better things. Yeah, you could think positive and strive for better things, but it also comes down to self-control. You could strive all you want. You could wish, you could hope, you could pray, but here's the reality: if you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, this thing will consume you. It will have you thinking that reality is the internet, and reality is fake. Like I said, like the young Asian kid, and that's when we get lost. When you look at reality as fake and you look at the internet as real, you can find real things on the internet. You can find uplifting, upbuilding. You can find raw stuff, be it good and bad on the internet. But the problem is when we start to say that this is more real than real life, than reality. If you pass me a piece of food, through the computer, I can't eat that food, at least not now. If you 3D print something for me, like I said, at this moment, I don't know if it could go through the screen, but who knows where we're going to go? Who knows how far this thing will transform and become a part of our reality? Especially when people, get more into implanting stuff in their body. In certain countries, they've already started to do stuff like that. One day I actually met a woman that said that everything in the end is real. What is the Bible is what's in the Bible is fake. Um, Let me see. One day I met a woman that said everything in the end is real. What's in the Bible is fake. Well, you have to prove that one to me. Somebody have to prove that one to me as far as what's in the Bible is fake. But for the purposes of this conversation, all I'm gonna say is, everybody have a good night. Okay, Eggman rocks. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Because I'm almost to my hour anyway. I'm almost about to be out of here too. I appreciate the 5 people that are here, the 10 thumbs up. Probably gonna get some real decent watch time. 2 words, everybody remember. Um, yeah, I need to know those 2 words. No, okay, 90 Glock. I don't know where you're going with that one, but it's all good. Max headroom. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know if you're talking about an actual person or max headroom on a flight. I don't know, but it is what it is. There's been a lot of interesting things in this live stream that have come about. A lot of strange things that have been said in here. Maybe not strange, but weird. I don't know. This is a live stream that was unexpected. Don't go big, bro. I need you. Well, you need you. Huh? Nah, everybody don't need me on here. The TV show and how life became. Redneck. Yeah. Nah. Thanks, Redneck. Thank you for being a part of it. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I said something worthwhile, of value, of interest. Not to be validating, but just to be real. And 90 Glock. You know, um, I think what people need more than me online in a live stream, it's real life. Is real life. You need real life. Experience some things. And if you got kids out there, tell your kids to go out there and play. Don't forget what it's like to go out there and actually, do real things. But unfortunately, nowadays, the kids are into the stuff and they want to get, plugged into the matrix. It is what it is, but I encourage people to, like I said, don't be afraid to climb the side of a mountain. Don't be afraid to walk a trail, safe places. Don't be afraid to ride a bike. Hopefully people still do stuff like that, but, to each his own, can't make people do stuff, can't make people live. Maybe real life is boring to people. That's probably why the internet may seem or be more real to people, because real life has become boring, which is insane and crazy, but that's what a lot of kids or a lot of people were thinking, and real life is not boring. Don't be afraid to take a physical risk. Yes, I agree with 90 Glock. There's some people out there that need to take some physical risk out there that are afraid to do that, and I'm gonna take some physical risks as I try to make some a sandwich or get something to eat. But again, like I said, one of the best things, at least for now, about television, about some of these devices, if you find yourself there, is the ability to turn it off. You know, Once we lose that ability to turn it off, to unplug, to actually detox from it or get away from it, that's when it becomes a bigger problem. When it becomes so ingrained in you. Yes, I'm ready to see you on that basketball. I don't know if you're ready to see me on the basketball court at 90 o'clock, but I hear you. We all have dreams. Maybe you've been online too long, but that's a fake thought. But anyway, in reality, you know, just be careful with this thing. Just be careful with this internet. Be careful how you, use it. Don't, let it use you. Don't let it overcome you and overtake you. You know what I mean? And on that note, I'm going to cut this thing off. But before I do, I'll say, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And don't be afraid to cut off your devices sometime. Go out there and live.